So you're thinking about launching a product on Amazon here in Australia, right? But maybe you feel like you're stuck, just watching endless videos and never actually taking that first step. Well, if that's you, this is exactly what you need. We're going to cut through all the noise and show you how to find a product and get it launched without making it super complicated or blowing your budget. Does this feel familiar? You've spent hours and hours watching content. You've probably got a dozen different product ideas floating around, but you're just frozen. You can't make a decision. You know, this analysis paralysis is so common. But what if I told you the biggest thing holding you back isn't how complex Amazon is, but just that feeling of being stuck? Okay, listen up, because this is the one idea that will save you thousands of dollars and a whole lot of stress. The goal of your very first product is not to quit your job and find financial freedom overnight. No way. The real goal is to learn the entire Amazon system with as little risk as possible. Once you adopt that mindset, everything changes. I promise.
All right, let's really break this down. In this first part, we are tackling what I call the paralysis problem. We're digging into the number one reason why most beginners, and I mean most, never actually get a product to market. And the answer? It's probably not what you think.
See, it's not the logistics or the competition or even the platform that stops people. The biggest problem is that internal battle, that endless search for the perfect product. And here's the truth. There is no perfect product. It doesn't exist. There is only a validated enough product. Waiting around for some flawless idea is pretty much the surest way to never, ever begin. So, with that in mind, let's totally redefine what a profitable product actually looks like, especially for us here in Australia. You need to forget all those flashy posts you've seen on social media, because the reality of what actually works is, well, it's pretty different. There's this myth out there about what a winning product is, right? It's got to be high revenue, super trendy, something that just looks amazing on Instagram. But the reality for a successful first launch in Australia is almost the complete opposite. What you're really looking for is low competition and just simple, consistent demand for a product that might even be, dare I say it, a little bit boring. And this is the beginner's secret weapon in Australia. You're not trying to compete in the massive, crazy, competitive US market. You're operating in a smaller, less sophisticated seller environment. And if you know how to use it, that is a huge advantage. So how do we actually turn this advantage into a real plan? Well, it all starts with a super practical checklist. To minimize your risk and really leverage that market inefficiency, your first product has to follow a few non-negotiable rules. Just think of these as your safety rails. You want it lightweight, to keep those shipping costs way down, non-seasonal, so you have demand all year round, absolutely no batteries or hazardous materials. That's a logistical nightmare you don't need. No sizing or variations to keep your inventory simple, and this one is crucial. It should be so simple you can explain what it is and what it does in a single sentence. It is so important to understand this point. Most beginners, they get excited, they ignore this simple advice, and they end up learning a very expensive lesson. Sticking to these rules isn't about limiting your ambition. It's about setting yourself up to actually learn and succeed in the long run. Okay, so you've got an idea that fits the checklist. Now what? How do you actually know if it's any good? Well, you don't feel your way into a product decision. Nope, you validate it with cold, hard data. You know, the entire validation process really just boils down to this one simple question. Are people already, right now, consistently buying a product like this from multiple sellers without one single brand just totally dominating the market? You are not trying to invent demand. You're just looking to step into an existing stream of commerce. And this process breaks down into 4 key steps. First, you analyze the sellers. Is there actually room for you to play? Then, check the sales data. Is it consistent? Third, you monitor your competitors' stock levels to confirm that units are actually selling and moving. And finally, check the pricing. Is it stable, or is everyone just in a race to the bottom? This validation stage, it's a make or break moment. If you rush it, you'll end up launching a product with no real demand. But if you freeze here and get lost in the data, well, you're right back to that decision paralysis we talked about at the beginning. You have to move through this stage methodically. Okay, you've done it. You've validated your product, and now it's time to launch.
But listen, launching fast does not mean being sloppy or careless. It's a very specific, smart strategy that's designed to get you data while protecting your money. So this is what a smart, fast launch really looks like. You start with small orders to test the market. You're not betting the farm. You control your ad spend, focusing on learning. You have to leave your ego at the door, and you definitely don't waste thousands on fancy branding for a product that isn't even proven yet. Remember that core mindset we talked about? This is where it really comes into play. Your first launch is basically a scientific experiment. The goal isn't a perfect, chart-topping success story. The goal is to collect real-world data on what works and what doesn't. That's it. And this brings us to a bit of a harsh reality. Sellers who try to go big from day one, ordering thousands of units and spending a fortune on marketing, they are often the ones who disappear the fastest. A controlled, data-driven approach is truly the fastest path to long-term success. Okay, your product is live on Amazon. What happens now? Let's talk about setting some realistic expectations for your early sales, because this is where a lot of new sellers get really discouraged. Let's be perfectly clear about this. Your product will not magically start selling the day it goes live. It just won't. You are going to need to run ads to get eyeballs on your listing. You are going to make mistakes with your keywords and your campaigns. Those first ads will probably feel really inefficient, and that's okay. All of this is completely normal. It's just part of the process of gathering that precious data. That initial ad spend, it's not about maximizing your profit margin. Think of it more like tuition. You are literally paying to learn how customers on Amazon search, how they click, and how they buy in your specific category. And trust me, that knowledge is far more valuable than any tiny profit you might make in those first few weeks. So, what's the big takeaway here? Well, the most expensive mistake you can make is getting stuck in analysis paralysis and never even starting. The second most expensive is rushing ahead without any kind of plan. The smartest path is the one we've just laid out. Start with the right mindset, pick a simple product, validate it with data, and launch small to learn the system safely. So as we wrap this up, I want you to remember this one thing. Your first launch is just a test. It is not the final exam on your future as an entrepreneur. So with that in mind, what is one small, manageable step you can take right now to move forward?